The most influential and prolific writer in English literature, William Shakespeare, introduced the genius play of Hamlet to the world in 1601. Inspired by earlier literature works such as Histoire tragique by French writer François de Belfort, the raw material within Hamlet introduces a story of a Danish prince whose uncle murders his father, marries his mother, and claims his throne. Shakespeare carves out the character of Hamlet philosophically determined in the eyes of the audience, but remains highly indecisive throughout the majority of the play. This incredibly classic baseline of Hamlet inspires many more works of literature as well as animated series down the line. Lion King is no exception. Lion King, being the Hamlet-inspired animated film, reiterates the philosophies and moral lessons Shakespeare wanted to teach us 4 centuries ago, and transforms itself into something luminous people from all ages can understand and relate to without enduring the cruelty and rawness from its core. Through the masterpieces of Hamlet and The Lion King, I see many similarities in the plot of the story. In Hamlet, Claudius kills Hamlet's father to seek the throne and also steals his wife. Hamlet was once depressed, but when his father's spirit spoke to him, revealing that Claudius was the one who murdered him, he inspired Hamlet to set things right. Therefore, Hamlet started to plan for his father's revenge. Since Hamlet was contemplative and thoughtful by nature, he delayed, entering into a deep melancholy and even apparent madness. Claudius was concerned about Hamlet, so he orders a pair of Hamlet's friends to watch him. He discovers that Hamlet might already have found out the truth, so he decides to send Hamlet to England. At the same time, Hamlet seizes upon an idea to test his uncle's guilt. He will have actors perform a scene that resembles the scenario by which Hamlet imagines his uncle murdering his father. So if Claudius is guilty, he will react. When the death scene displays, Claudius jumps up and leaves the theater immediately. Now Hamlet is certain that this indeed proves his uncle's guilt. Hamlet goes to kill Claudius. In the end, they have a sword fight. Hamlet scores the first hit, but declines to drink from the king's goblet. Instead, Gertrude takes a drink from it and is swiftly killed by the poison. Hamlet was wounded, though he didn't die from the poison immediately. After revealing to Hamlet that Claudius is responsible for the queen's death, Hamlet mercilessly stabs Claudius through the chest with the poisoned sword and forces him to drink down the rest of the poisoned wine. Claudius dies and Hamlet dies immediately after achieving his revenge. Comparing to The Lion King, the plotline is almost identically the same, but since The Lion King is a cartoon movie for kids, there are a lot less fighting, blood, and murdering. The Lion King starts with Simba being born and presented by Rafiki. Simba's evil uncle Scar realizes that he would never have a chance to acquire the king's crown, so he decides to kill Simba's father, Mufasa, by creating chaos in the Pride Lands. Mufasa fell for his trick and is pushed down the cliff by Scar. Later, Mufasa dies from the thousands of yaks trampling all over him. Scar isn't satisfied yet. He plans to send Simba to the hyena's nest and have Simba killed as well. When Simba arrives, he was obviously terrified. Luckily, he was rescued by Timon and Pumbaa. They raise Simba and watch him grow. One day, Simba meets Mufasa's spirit and was told to kill Scar because Mufasa wanted the rightful king to dominate the Pride Lands, and clearly Scar isn't the one. With help from his friends, Simba sneaks past the hyena's nest and confronts Scar. Scar tries to taunt Simba and kill him the same way he killed Mufasa. He later revealed the truth that he was the one who killed Mufasa cruelly and mercilessly. Raging in madness, Simba pins Scar to the ground and forces him to exhibit the secret to the rest of the animals. Scar begs and blames his actions to the hyenas. Simba lets Scar go, but Scar backfires on him and tosses him down the cliff. Simba survives the fall, but Scar was also betrayed by the hyenas and was eaten alive. In the end, Simba becomes the king of the Pride Lands and continues the cycle of life with Nala and the rest of the animals. The two masterpieces without a doubt resemble one another because Lion King was heavily inspired by the great Shakespearean play of Hamlet. But at the same time, they also contain a great deal of individual uniqueness, so the audience can learn the same lessons in different approaches. The many themes of Hamlet and Lion King all fall under the great umbrella theme of vengeance. Ever since the beginning, vengeance became the distant objective in the two stories, although one protagonist does not realize vengeance and the idea of revenge until later on in the story. The two protagonists, Hamlet and Simba, were both traumatized at an early age due to the murder of their father by their uncle. The outcome led from the desire of power shapes how Hamlet and Simba view the corrupt world they live in, and vengeance was sought as the only way to create satisfaction and happiness. Although vengeance was both achieved in the end by the two protagonists, but the journey and discovery towards the realization of vengeance were applied very differently between Hamlet and Simba. The theme of certainty and decisiveness comes into play here. How do people such as Hamlet and Simba take effective approaches and purposeful actions when it comes to revenging their beloved fathers? Hamlet distrusts the idea of himself to act deliberately and purposefully. He prefers recklessly and blindly resolving his problems. In other words, Hamlet is known for saying much but doing little. This clearly demonstrates the many occasions of his hesitance to revenge his father by killing Claudius. This indecisiveness and lack of ability to act to some people may seem to be the light that shines through Hamlet, the goodness within him, and some might just suggest Hamlet is the one suffering from thinking too much and not acting upon his thoughts. Simba, however, only decides to forget about his past and move on to strive for a better life. This mainly is due to his uncle Scar's heavy manipulation upon him that he was the cause of his father's death, and the young Simba carried that burden ever since. The harsh manipulation from an early age developed Simba's inactivity of vengeance throughout a big part of the story. But once the truth was revealed to him, Simba acted strongly and doubtlessly. Another theme that played a significant role throughout the development of vengeance was manipulation. Manipulation is what leads the two main antagonists to use immoral ways to reach the crown and deal with the consequences that followed. Scar and Claudius are manipulative, lustful, and conniving murderers that will do anything to achieve power and authority. While Scar forcibly convinces the impressionable Simba that he killed his father, Claudius strategically marries Gertrude to help him win the throne easier after King Hamlet's death. In both masterpieces, deceit and manipulation lead to tragic deaths of great kings like Mufasa and King Hamlet, but also malicious villains such as Scar and Claudius as well. This demonstrates that betrayal and acts of wrongdoing for the sole purpose of gaining power never ends happily after, but will fall back upon you sooner or later. Despite having similar plot points for Lion King and Hamlet, they still appear to be very different in terms of their approach in tone and setting to the audience. Lion King is a Disney animated film, and Hamlet is a play written by William Shakespeare 400 years ago. They are presented in a very different tone, where Hamlet plays a victim of tragedy and depression throughout the entirety of the play, and Simba stays optimistic for the majority of the movie. In the beginning, there was a group dance in Lion King to manifest the cohesion among the different species in Africa, whereas in Hamlet, the stage lighting was instantly dark and dim for the most part. Lion King has also used contrast colors to demonstrate the different states of the country before and after Scar had taken over it. For example, Lion King uses bright and vibrant colors such as green and blue to depict the utopian state of the Pride Lands, and darker, earthy tones to contrast with the bright colors to give the feeling of conflict. The audience was able to predict a tragic ending for Hamlet and a happy ending for Lion King due to their different tones of delivery. In terms of their settings, Hamlet and Lion King were also very different due to their habitats as humans and lions. The film Lion King, without a doubt, has a lot in common with the play Hamlet. Not only do these two stories have nearly the same plot, but they also possess vengeance and manipulation as their common themes of the story. Although Lion King depicts a brighter tone of delivery, Hamlet intends to be made more genuine and relatable to the audience, so it achieves its maturity. As a result, Lion King presents a more vibrant understanding of Shakespeare's classical philosophies by diminishing the rawness of reality presented through Hamlet 4 centuries ago.